Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to SimPlay Motorsport. Apologies for the change of stream. My Streamlabs decided to play silly buggers, but we are back live. We are all okay, ready to go. Free practice has now come to an end. And Kelly, obviously, again, from your perspective, last season, you were in these cars, you were in this championship. We now go into a 5-minute qualifying session. How crucial is this qualifying session? Because if you don't get it right, you're not going to be in a competitive position, are you?
No, I mean we are moving into a feature race where you might have more opportunities, but certainly in a 20-minute race, you know, hey, it's one or two things really. Kind of you either want to be at the sharp end or at the back, but then with 35 drivers on the grid, Dan, you know, being at the back now, it's going to be a big ask to come from the back to the front. Being in the middle means the fear of carnage, but only two people can be at the front, can't they? Really?
Only two, and really, that's why some people, they're all just charging out of the pits. They literally just all mob the pit exit. Obviously, sometimes it can play into your favour staying in the pit lane. Obviously, you get the clean air, but you will get that only one lap. Obviously, when we go to Spa next week, it is going to be even harder. I mean, it takes the GT3 cars to get around in a lap of 2 minutes 20 something just on the out lap, let alone.
Yeah, it's going to. Absolutely impossible next week to get more than one lap in. This was actually quite fun. I always was quite high up the grid. In my garage was always quite high up the grid, should I say. So I usually got out of the sharp end, which probably upset quite a few people. But I had some great fun in qualifying, you know, purely because it's a race to get a good lap, you know, and it was quite good fun, to be fair.
Indeed it is, and then obviously it reminds me back of the old Formula 1 days when they literally had one lap and that was it. Wherever you qualified is where you qualified. A lot different nowadays, but I do think this 5-minute qualifying for this championship works very well for these cars.
I think, yeah, certainly for these and for the spectators, you know. I mean, we've got a real scrap on our hands here. You know, these guys have got a small window. They've got to get the job done. You know, there's no faffing around, hanging about. It's got to be done now, and they've got to get on it.
And indeed, it will show the drivers who are capable of pulling that one lap out and who need that extra lap to build up. I know for a fact that I can't just pop the lap out straight away. I need time to build confidence, build pressure, build everything in the car, in the tyres, and especially as well, the other thing I forgot to mention, Kelly, these tyres are not in tyre blankets. They're stone cold when they come out. So even your first lap is a bit sketchy.
I always found that I needed at least the second or the third lap on the tyres to get the tyres anywhere like where I wanted them. You said you couldn't get it all together straight away. God, it would take me 20 minutes, half an hour to get somewhere like where I need to be, let alone 5 minutes. Certainly the Ginetta wouldn't warm its tyres up on an out lap alone, you know?
Yeah, it would not indeed, as Matthew Duffin is the man we're currently on board with. Hopefully we should have figured out Kelly's camera issues and driver issues, but we'll figure that one out as Matthew Duffin's gone wide at the penultimate corner there, and Cummings is now coming up behind him, so Cummings is looking like he's going to be a little bit quicker. He struggled with Sterling's bend there as they come into Clearways and Clark Curve. But Matthew Duffin is going to set... Oh, no, O'Brien set the pace, sorry, as Duffin is now coming to the line. 31.8 has been set by O'Brien, and Matt's off the pace due to that little mistake he's made. But he has managed to get another lap. He might get another 2 laps in. O'Brien sets...
McGowan goes quickest.
McGowan does set the pace. Hubert goes fastest.
Hugo quickest, yeah.
Hubert.
Tumble. Yeah, you all right? Do you need a bag or something?
I don't know what I need.
This is going to tumble like a fruit machine. You know, it's going to... O'Reilly goes quickest with a 1:30.7.
9 tenths faster than Hubert. So
yeah, he got a good run there.
Yeah, then this... Go on.
I was just I just wondered if he was on his own, but he's not. He's quite close to Unsworth. On track. I wonder if he had clear air. He's behind Unsworth now. He'll struggle to get another quick lap with O'Reilly, so that's probably going to be his best one.
Yeah, where is Will Friedman? He usually likes to sit in the pits. He's actually coming out of the final corner towards the end of the season. He just chose to start from the back of the pack for the hell of it. And he comes to the line. Does he put him pole? No, it puts him fifth at the minute. So O'Reilly, that banker lap that he put in is good enough for pole position at this stage. But obviously the laps are going to come quicker and quicker as they build confidence. O'Brien now back to the front for him. And he's coming to the line here. What can he do in the Alpine? What we found out of O'Brien, he used to be a Porsche Super Cup driver, a real one at that. A real one. He used to do the British Porsche Super Cup, and he goes P3. Bit different being in an Alpine, I bet.
A bit different being in a sim race because real world rules do not apply around here.
They do not indeed. Matthew Duffin, meanwhile, is still struggling. He's down in 10th, being out-qualified by Ben Rook, who is not going to get another lap. So he crosses the line, and he will stay at 9th. Neither did Matt Wright or Smith. Darren Bell crosses the line, and he only goes into 17th place position. 17th. They're going to come thick and fast now as Tardok is one. Silth now goes into second as a few of the Lions cars coming to the line. Barclock goes in to a P12, and here comes Tardok. Has he taken pole? Not quite. He will stay second to O'Reilly at the minute.
So close.
Hubert, though, still on a lap as well. We look to Will Friedman now into the final sector. Who else is on a lap? That's the question. Hibbs goes 8th.
Yes, he does. Will Friedman, as you said, coming into the last corner now, accelerating along the main straight, if you can call it that. Nothing straight here, and goes third. Yeah, close as well. Just 0.2 off the ultimate pace.
He does, and Gary Leach no longer 131. He's now 313. He goes into P11, and Hubert is still on the lap, as is Matthew Duffin McGowan as well. I believe here is Matthew Duffin into the final corner. He goes, and the reason for Gary Leach changing from 131 to 313, he's going back to stock car racing in real life, and as he goes back, he's lost his race number. Matthew Duffin 11th.
So he's got his new race number as his new race number for sim racing.
Yep, 313. And Hubert goes into P6 there, but it is Kieran O'Reilly in the McLaren taking pole position, and it's going to be the same two at the front again. Tordok not taking pole this time, Kelly, but these two looking the pace with Friedman there in third.
Yes, I mean that was fast and furious, wasn't it? And we're gonna that's how it's gonna work out every week, is it not?
It is indeed. So obviously race 1 will be a reverse grid of the championship. So we'll obviously have a rundown of the provisional standings after this race. But then the second race will be the 5-minute qualifying session once again. And at Spa is going to be a nightmare. Matt Wright in the chat, part of the ARL group, tuning in the shower. Lovely. Make sure you wash your hair properly. Wish I could be on track with these guys. It is a really, really competitive grid this season, White.
Yeah, well, and White, I'm kind of quite happy to be sat here in the commentary box. Actually, it's I don't know if it looked as hectic as that last season, but yeah, it's quite intimidating sitting this side, thinking you were in that.
Indeed, and I think this, not just obviously the GT3s, but obviously not just the GT4s, but the GT3s this season. Some of the hot stints that we've got coming in, and some of the driver level is just really high. I've never seen this channel so competitive. I think as well, don't want to obviously blow our own trumpet, but I do think SimPlay is probably the most competitive console league that's out there now, with just the level of drivers we have.
Yes, absolutely, and as I said earlier on in the evening, myself and Daniel started 5 years ago. Is it 5? Yeah, got to be 5 years ago.
Lockdown,
in lockdown we started here at SimPlay, so we're one of the reasonable originals. We have got some actual originals here on the grid and on Pro.
I believe the original ones is Matthew Duffin, Mike Matthews, Gary Leach, Kieran Argent, obviously he's come back, Monkey Boy, aka Andrew Taylor, and pretty much
Argent back, is he?
Yeah, Argent's back on the grid. He's gone back to, he was in the Mustang last season. He's gone to Bentley once again. Was he Mustang? I think he was being. He was one of them.
I don't know. We were arch enemies. Good friends off track, but arch enemies. Back in our Project Cars days is where we all started this 5 years ago. But yes, my point being that the quality of drivers has just got so much better, and the speed of these drivers, you know, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. As I say, it's almost intimidating to watch now, you know.
It is indeed. Another driver we haven't mentioned, Skunky, down in 22nd. He is not having a good start to this season. He's going to got a lot of work to do here tonight. But as the drivers go around and do their formation, obviously I talked about the Patreon, I talked about the calendar. Let's talk about our fantastic sponsors. Let's start off with Design. Let's start off with Design Manchester, producers of vinyl graphics and laser engraved gifts, mugs, printed clothing, and much, much more, including SimPlay merchandise. Still waiting on my SimPlay merchandise, Mike. But his Facebook link is there in the chat, so head over to Design Manchester for all those wonderful needs. And then we got Audio Sport, and I will let the man himself take over Audio Sport himself.
Oh, no, I'm interested to see what you got written down. You tell me what you got written down for
manufacturers of manufacturer of VW Transporter, T4 audio solutions and styling products. Head over to www.audiosport.co.uk/ www.audiosport.co.uk or head over to the Facebook link in the bio as well. Is that right?
Yeah, not bad. For those who don't know, Audio Sport is my company. We've got Instagram pages as well. Team Audio Sport. Search Team Audio Sport on Instagram, and that's the one for the fun stuff, sim racing, car shows and stuff like that. That's the one that has all that kind of stuff on it. The normal Audio Sport page has the products and work on it, but Team Audio Sport is the one for fun, so that's the one to follow.
And also, I believe Mike Matthews as well is on Instagram as well with Design Manchester as well. So give him a look and a follow on that as well. As we're about to get our feature race underway, it is O'Reilly versus Tardog as 45 minutes are about to get underway here at Brands Hatch. And once again, Darren Bell with a drive-through as they head down towards turn number 1. Tardog is going to go right around the outside if he possibly can, but he's gone a little bit too deep, not enough creep. And Friedman this time up the inside has got the job done as we got also the Alpine of O'Brien up the inside as Silth there also looking to make a move as it all gets quite close. As Silth has a little moment and nearly drops it as Ben Rock is now on the move as well. So already a little bit of chaos going through the first couple of laps here.
Yes, indeed. Reasonably clean, as nobody's turning in the wrong direction from what I can see, but a bit of pushing and shoving, but that's about it at the moment.
O'Reilly leading the way though with Tardog just behind him, but it is once again Hubert who's on the move. Kelly, what's happened?
Just a bit of argy-bargy at the back of the grid. I had a bit of there was somebody a little bit sideways, but it came of nothing as they got it all back together. We've got Cloudon's way back as well in 23rd. Where did he qualify?
I believe he was up the order, so Jamal Cloudon down in 22nd. Maybe not the best qualifying either, but he is down the order, and he is right in the thick of it, as I believe, as I just changed camera there's a bit of dirt being kicked up as they all work their way through the final few sectors. I do need to get a keyboard so I can change the cameras better, but so far, so good. We do have a yellow flag towards the back. That is the 57, I think that is. There's John Andrews once again having a moment, but it is Kieran O'Reilly leading the way from Tardog, from Friedman, from Hubert, but this time O'Brien's in the fight, as is McGowan. Silth and Duffin still got Duffin's got his hands full with his teammate Gary Leach right behind him.
Yeah, Gary Leach, absolutely. Original sim players, these two, and all good. I was in a party with these guys all season as well last year. It was Gary Leach is always good fun to be in a party with, and always drives like he stole it. You know,
he does indeed.
Yeah, rocks up, just does the job.
Cloudon, meanwhile, is on the move. He was in the 18th position. He is now fighting Cummins and Unsworth, who's gone a little bit wide, and that's going to allow Cummins up the inside. And Jamal Cloudon looks like he has got the run in the Chevy Camaro, and is quite a bit of a brute in the straight line as Unsworth goes across. He's in the toe of the Alpine, and he's about to get mugged by two very powerful engine cars right behind him. But the little Alpine, the little bug car, stays in front. Oh, Cowden's gone wide.
He has gone wide, and there just wasn't enough room for everybody around that corner as they went round. So that's put Clouden back a position or two. So he's got that all to do again. I know yes, he has gone back, hasn't he? Gone back a couple. Yeah. So he's still got that all to do, all over again. So we've got time. We've got time. So see what he can do as he progresses up through.
He has indeed. The leading pack, though, all kind of spread out a little bit. Meanwhile, Hubert is looking very quick and is on the back bumper of Friedman and Tordok, his teammate. So we'll see what these guys can do. And if the fight gets continuing on, as O'Brien there has gone wide in the Alpine. And go through does Matthew Duffin, as Darren Bell still yet to serve his drive-through.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, Darren had a couple of drive-throughs on his starts last season, so hasn't quite nailed that one just yet. Maybe he'll get the hang of it in the next few races. McGowan in the mix again in this race, back towards the front. Didn't have the best of first races.
No, he did not.
He's right in there now.
Yeah, he's in this one. McGowan, very quick driver. He gave me a hard time towards the end of the GT3 season in his Ferrari at Donington Park. Was very, very quick. And once again, he's showing what he can do in the GT4. So very good in that Mercedes-Benz. But O'Reilly, though, Kelly, is in control at the moment. He does not look flustered at all and just slowly building that gap to Tordok. And I think Tordok is too busy looking in his rearview mirror, because when you've got Friedman behind you, you do probably spend more time looking in your mirrors than you do looking forward.
Yes, we've got Millington's round further back, and there's absolute chaos. As Marsden has crashed into him, and they're taking avoiding action left, right, and centre. You've got Millington and Marsden right in the middle of the track, and yeah, a bit of chaos down the order.
And as the rules state, they have to hold on to their brakes and wait until it's clear. And as they've done so, Millington with damage, though, a second race not going his way at all. But O'Reilly not quite as quick that lap. He's been caught by Tordok ever so slightly. Hubert has actually dropped off of the two, and now he's starting to become under pressure from McGowan. Silth is there just as well, and Duffin's trying to stick with them. But Gary's got his hands full with the little Alpine of O'Brien. And once again, like I said, Hibbs and Rook at the minute, I probably wouldn't have put them in the top category of this class, but they're hanging in there. They're just hanging on to the back of it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So there's a nice little scrap going on with Skunky, Unsworth, Gasby and Aberdeen towards 17th, where are we, 15th, 16th, 17th place, all very close at the moment.
And Skunky gaining out of that worse, and Gasby is now also following behind. We've also got Aberdeen right on the back bumper of them, with I think Unsworth just dropping down the order of this group as well, and it's all quite close here, but Skunky should pull away from this group now, as he's got the pace over the guys behind him. And looks like just behind him as well is Barclock and Vesely, fighting for 19th and 20th position. Matt Wright pulling away from Myers, and that's a group of cars just behind him. A lot of Ginettas involved in that fight there, and a McLaren and an Aston Martin in the middle of that as well. So the Ginettas not looking as mighty as they used to do last season.
No, Clouden now back on the back of Cummins as they come into the final corner, and I think Clouden's got him lined up. Goes down the inside into turn one, is going to have a nice and easy pass on Cummins there as they go into Paddock Hill Bend. But Cummins coming across, having a look down the inside as they come up to the hairpin, but Clouden's got that one covered off. Clouden moves up to 14th. 13th.
He does indeed. A bad qualifying possession dropped him back. Meanwhile, O'Reilly has lost a bit of pace at the front. He's now got 8 tenths separating him and Tordok, who has gone fastest of them all at the minute. And Friedman's going with him as well. Hubert now starting to put away from McGowan because he's under pressure from Silth in the Ginetta. So the highest looking Ginetta now starting to pressurize the Mercedes-Benz. And the two Porsches of Tordok and Friedman have been looking very, very good. Possibly the car to be in this season, but we still got a lot of Mercedes-Benz up that end of the circuit as well. But still got Matthew Duffin breathing down his neck, and this is good for Matthew. He will be learning racing lines from the guys in front and trying to build that confidence, and he's looking a lot better in this race pace-wise. Even though he's at the back of this group, he is sticking with them with confidence.
Absolutely. Now he's got the big boy racing pants on, and he's not using the training line anymore.
He is indeed, and Silth there looking to just hold that position. Matt had a sniff at opportunity. Meanwhile, O'Reilly once again pulls the gap 1 second from Tardog and Friedman. What other fights have we got going on? Gary Leach has got Hibbs and Rook right behind him.
Yeah, that's the one I'm just watching at the moment. Team Audio Sports Ben Rook is pressuring Hibbs, and Gary not too far in front of that battle as well. So yeah, Ben doing his bit for Team Audio Sport, part of the Young Driver program.
Yes, indeed, and he's ahead of the Greasy Bandits racing driver of Hibbs and ahead of the SimPlay racing driver of Gary Leach. And good close fights at the minute. Fernie ahead of Jamal Clouden, and Jamal should be able to get this one. He has indeed. Yeah. So we'll see what Jamal Clouden can do. Skunky's obviously cleared that group now, as Aberdeen is now behind Skunky, because he's now cleared Gadsby, and they're all starting to pull away from the guys behind. Ramsor's having a better start to this race. Not as good as he's dropped down the order, but everyone else still going. That is Millington returning back to track after major damage earlier on. But once again, O'Reilly whoa! Tardog, sorry, just went through the fast right-hander and got it on 2 wheels.
Bless him. True touring car style.
Indeed, and he's had to, because of that mistake, though, he's ended up having to defend from Friedman. They've dropped Hubert, who's just not been able to stick with him, and now McGowan's right down his neck. But we're watching Friedman right on the rear wing of Tardog. This is going to be an exciting season between these three, I think.
Yeah, it's looking to shape up that well for sure. Yeah, Friedman looking very racy, isn't he?
He is indeed, and Tardog there goes a bit wide, but Friedman not close enough. Hubert is defending heavily here, as he's got McGowan, Silth and Duffin all there, as O'Brien's got a little bit deep. Gary Leach going to get a little bit closer, so the packs are close, and Jamal Clouden has cleared that of Fernie, yep. So Fernie's dropped down the order as well.
He's got a big gap now to get back onto this front pack of 10 or 11 cars, so he's got to make up. He's got to get his head down and get some real quick lap times in, because he's got to make up a couple of seconds there, 4 seconds.
4.9.
Up to Ben. Yeah, 4.9 up to Ben, Team Audio Sports, so he's got to get his head down. We'll see how he progresses.
Indeed, as the MSA Racing are currently sat in second place, still holding that fastest lap, with the old school races of Will Friedman just behind them. But then we got that pack of 4 all fighting it hard for that final position. O'Reilly once again just seems to possibly make a mistake earlier on and has built that gap up again. He's just in control at this stage of this race, but all still to play for as we still go a long way into this race. A bit kicked up in front of these pack of 4, and Hubert though soaking up the pressure brilliantly here at the minute.
Yeah, and he's under immense pressure from McGowan. McGowan is one of those cars, when you see him in your mirror, you take notice.
Gary Leach now on the attack of O'Brien. O'Brien has to defend the inside. The tiny Alpine versus the monstrous Mercedes. To the outside goes the Mercedes-Benz of Gary Leach. He won't be able to get the job done. He's watched a lot of touring cars. He's been to Donington Park, but he's watched a couple of lines, and he'll know the runs up towards Druids. And can O'Brien hold on to position? Obviously, he has raced here professionally, so a bit of different track knowledge for the two of them. And right behind them is Hibbs and Rook also going at it. So great racing from these 4, but O'Brien just keeps the position, and Touring Car S just parking it on the apex.
Absolutely, and Touring Car S from Gary Leach gave him a little nudge to say, I'm still here.
And Gary's looking up the inside, and contact made.
Contact made indeed, and O'Brien takes Rook when he's sliding as well. So, yeah, the 3 cars got all roughed up by that. Of course, who does that put back in the mix? There's Clouden.
Yeah, it does help out Clouden massively.
Yeah. 3 places there in one straight for Clouden.
Hibbs obviously his teammate, and Hibbs allowing him through, and Hibbs now having to defend. So all that stemmed from Gary Leach just giving him a little nudge, and that was enough to cause this domino effect, and Clouden now clearing this pack of cars, so pretty much a little bit easier for him. O'Reilly though still leading. Tardog still got Friedman up his backside, and I think these two are going to be stuck together for pretty much the entire race, while Hubert is probably all season as well, while Hubert has pulled away from McGowan, because McGowan is now defending from Silth.
Yes, he is, and having to defend hard because Silth is all over him. Matt's still there with a watching brief, just car length behind, ready to pick up the pieces as soon as it all goes terribly wrong.
Oh, who's that off? That is John Andrews. Yeah, that is John Andrews.
He's been lapped.
Yeah, he has been lapped, but he's got major damage to the front end of that Mercedes.
Cool. He made a mess of that.
He has indeed, and Hubert, they're just holding on and still not able to capitalise on that moment. Meanwhile, I'll go back to the front with Friedman and Tordok, who once again are going at it, and Friedman, he's 5,000s alongside him then, but he just can't find the space. This is the problem here. And Chris in the chat saying, not much room overtake, question mark. Very much so. This is the problem with Brands Hatch. It's so tight, it's so twisty. Trying to get an overlap, you do need to have significant pace on the car in front.
Yes, you do. Overtaking opportunities are very few and far between round here. So I tell you what, Dan, if I did GT4 again, I don't think I'd bother with the Ginetta. I suppose it depends on the calendar, but its lack of straight line speed is just a problem.
Oh, McGowan's at a moment in the penultimate corner, and that's going to give it a little bit of pressure from Sylph, but I don't think Sylph's got the straight line advantage in that Ginetta, and they've all been held up a little bit, while Friedman had a look at Tordok once again, but the more and more they fight, the more and more O'Reilly pulls away. 3.1 is now the gap. O'Reilly storming out in front. Touring car pace, that is, because the touring cars don't really tend to disappear quite quickly. And at the minute, O'Reilly's looking quite good at the minute, but Hubert is defending heavily from McGowan, and Sylph's gone a little bit wide because McGowan's gone deep, and now Duffin's up the inside as well. This is an opportunity for either one of these cars to take that fourth place position. And it's mad how four cars are just fighting for fourth.
Absolutely. Matt gets run a little bit wide there. He's right on the outside, makes himself vulnerable out there for sure. But good racing here.
You got the power of the two Mercedes-Benz pulling away in the straight, and the bruteness of the Chevy Camaro just abusing curves in front, and then you got the Ginetta that's nimble and fast in the corners, all equally matched here, and it's brilliant to see as once again the two Porsches are line astern. Meanwhile, Clouden is trying to hunt down Gary Leach. That gap's gone down to 2 seconds. O'Brien is in 10th with Hibbs in 11th. Skunky's worked his way up to 12th place position, with Rook dropping down to 13, possibly damage to the front end of his car. The pit window will be opening soon with Fernie, Aberdeen, Gasby and Unsworth.
Tarduk's gone wide. Friedman's got to run down the outside, but he can't make it stick. Sorry, he had quite the run on him then. Oh no, Friedman's gone to the inside on the grass. He's got two wheels on the grass, but Friedman has got the inside line as they come down to the first corner. And can he be later on the brakes? Tarduk's going to go right round the outside down Panic Hill Bend, but still side by side for 3 or 4 corners now. But it's Friedman who's got track position into the hairpin. But Tarduk's not letting him go. They touch doors, no harm done. And Friedman he's still not through. Yes, he is now. He's got the job done.
Friedman is finally clear of Tarduk. Tarduk gave up a good hard fight, but he eventually lost out. What he needs to do now is just latch onto the back of Friedman now and work together to try and catch onto the back of O'Reilly, who's way out in front. Meanwhile, Chris says that Skunky has been in the wall, so he looks like he's got a little bit of damage to the front end of his car. He's on the back of Fernie and Ben Rook as well, but Clouden is now onto the back bumper of Gary Leach, who they've caught Matthew Duffin as well. So Duffin's dropped off the back of Sylph and Hubert. Where is McGowan? McGowan's also dropped behind them, so maybe obviously with the little coming together earlier on, earlier on they're coming together, but well, no, they didn't.
Must have been a moment for McGowan, because McGowan was way up, wasn't he? He was further up than that, so
yeah, he's got
something we missed.
Yeah, definitely so. Meanwhile, Clouden, even though he had a bad qualifying session, has worked his way up back into the top 10, and I think this is what's allowing him to, this 45-minute race is what he needed. Obviously, Kelly, we're going into this season for the GT3s. They'll have an hour-long race, and the possible tyre change is definitely on the cards. Do you think it's really worth it for the 45-minute race for these GT4s?
Well, I've always been well known for looking after my tyres. I would be. I don't think a 45-minute race would be a problem for the GT4s on these tyres. But
5-second loss for fresh tyres as Clouden now passes Gary Leach. So it's a 5-second loss, fresh set of tyres. You could lap quicker than you did further on. Meanwhile, O'Brien's gone really wide.
I think it's got to depend on the driver. It didn't work like that for me. Do you know what I mean? You know, so yeah, what my pace was my pace. If the tyres were in so-so shape or new, you know, it wouldn't give me an advantage. So for me, possibly not. But for possibly yourself, Daniel, or drivers like you who are quicker, that new tyre advantage might give you a couple of extra laps of pace, like, you know. So I think it's a hard one to tell on these cars.
Skunky, meanwhile, is looking to the outside of Fernie, heading towards the middle sector, and not far enough on overlap on it, as a couple of guys are now starting to pit. We've got Taylor in the pits. We've also got Myers, Bell, Clarble, Cummings, and also Millington as well. And it has been a dramatic race nonetheless. And Friedman now has dropped Tardok. Can he do anything about O'Reilly? That is the question, as they've got a lapped car just ahead of him of the Audi.
Yeah, as you said, in traffic, but he jumps out of the way. Yeah,
McGowan's
absolutely
pitted
perfectly.
McGowan's pitted, as will Ben Rook as well. He'll come into the pit, so does Skunky as well. So a lot of these drivers possibly got a little bit of damage they'll probably want to get rid of and use the last 20 minutes of this race to their advantage. The gap between O'Reilly and Friedman was just over 4 seconds. It is now 3.9. So can Friedman slowly bring that gap down? That is the question. Hubert is not a million miles away from him, but he has dropped Silth and Duffin, and Clouden now looking to try and chase Duffin down. Everyone else, though, pretty spread out, as Johnson has cleared Vesely as well. So your leading pitter at the minute is Dan Taylor, and he's currently in 27th position.
He certainly is. Yeah, just looking down the order. McGowan he's come up green as he left. Yeah, he's now leaving the pits, so he will be probably your highest pitted now.
He is indeed.
Yeah, by a long shot. Yeah.
As Ben will be in that group as well. So they've got their pit stops done, and now the tyre change is the question. This is going to open strategies up massively. O'Reilly, though, continues leading the way. He has extended the gap to 4.3. He is in comfortable condition, and one of the things that I learned from O'Reilly that season, the guy is consistent. He rarely makes a mistake, and when you give him that opportunity to pull away, he will pull away and he will not make a mistake. So it's going to take a lot for Friedman and Tordok to bring that gap down, I think, as Duffin now opts to pit as well. He comes in there with Gary Leach as well. And back in the Project Cars days, this wouldn't have been allowed. Teammates would have to stay out and wait for their teammate to pit. So both the SimPlay Racing boys opting to pit this lap.
Yeah, of course. Well, pretty much in most motor racing that wouldn't happen, would it? You couldn't do it in Formula 1 or touring car. You just wouldn't have the pit space. But we can in here, so happy days, and they decide to pit together. You know, I've been looking and trying to, at this early stage, to try and see who's going to be you know, who's going to be a contender for the championship, and there's so many quick guys in here. It's going to be such an enthralling season. It really is. And
obviously, with the likes of the calendar we have, is obviously going to suit different cars. Obviously, the Porsche is going to be quite good brand here, small, nimble, got a decent amount of power, so brands would probably suit it quite well. But then we head to Spa, where the big muscle cars like the Chevy Camaro and the Mercedes will be strong, as will the BMW, probably the strongest in a straight line. It's a calendar of mixed different circuits and different ability of drivers, but with the reverse grid and ballast involved. This is the pure racing as it is. But when we go to Spa, whoever's leading the championship will be hampered, and so on and so forth. So this is about as fast as they'll go this season.
Yes, indeed. So, and, you know, hey, stay tuned for the next 2 nights, see how the Pro-Ams and the pros get on with it in the GT3. Any ballast for those this season, Dan?
No, not for the GT3s.
No.
So for the GT3s, we apply the BOP, the balance and performance. So in each round, we look to a BOP system. I believe it's the LFM BOP. And each car will be added and demoted weight due to its performance at the circuit. So, for example, from what I know, the Porsche loses 3 kilos at Brands Hatch, while something like the Lexus would lose 37 kilos or something like that. So the bot will change based on how well the car performs at each circuit. If it struggles, it will lose weight. If it is quite competitive, it will gain weight. I'm sure Matthew Duffin will explain all that come Thursday night.
Absolutely.
But you'll see that in the timetables what cars are carrying what weight, and the same with these. You'll be able to see what weight people are carrying come each round. McGowan, meanwhile, has jumped ahead of Duffin, and Leachy's got that gap, and Rook not too far behind them either. So they're all relatively close. As O'Reilly chooses to pit, with Friedman carrying on, and Tordok has come in as well. Hubert is in also, Sylph stays out, and Jamal Clouden, what does he opt to do? He's also using the clean air right now.
Yep, so O'Reilly in at the moment, as you said, stopped on his marks, no problem. Tarduk in there as well. All things being equal, they should get out reasonably easy. Can have some traffic to contend with. Likes of Millington just coming out of the pits now as well, so there's going to be some traffic around, and you wouldn't be a surprise with 35 cars on track, would it? I mean, look, the pit lane is chaos at the moment.
The pit lane is busy. O'Reilly is on his way out. Where is the leading car? That is McGowan, and he's only now coming into the final sector, or the final couple of corners. So O'Reilly well out in front. Tardog has gone green as well. Hubert has actually jumped Tardog, Tordok, sorry. So Hubert has gone ahead of his teammate, so the Porsche driver, possibly changing tyres, because that's a 5-second gap that he's given up.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe opted for those fresh tyres. Again, different people. As I say, I've always been good on tyres. It's been one of my strengths, and I've never had any tyre issues. But I know some of you have real tyre problems.
Will Friedman once again continuing to circulate around as the top 3 are still opting to carry on. The 501, that is Robert Ramsell, and he is sped in the pit lane. He gets right out of the way of Will Friedman, and I think a lot of these drivers are going to be well happy to leave Brands and head to Spa, because it is very tight round here.
Yeah, Robert, I had some ding-dongs with him last season. Yeah, I think there was one evening where I managed to hit him about 6 times, bless him. Yeah, it turned into a bit of a running joke. All in the best taste, I'm sure.
Jamal Clouden now into the pits. Where is O'Reilly? He is now coming into the final sector. So Hubert and Tardog haven't really done anything with that. Obviously, we'll have to see what Tardog has done with the tyres if he suddenly then comes back. But the problem is with that, we're at Brands Hatch. It's a difficult circuit to overtake, let alone work your way back up the pack. Clouden's still in pit lane at the minute, and Will Friedman, though, still leading the way. No real fights at the minute other than Hibbs.
He's got to get on with it. It's only a minute, 2 minutes left of the pit window, so...
Yeah, so Friedman and Sylph are coming into the final set. They should be able to, as long as they get into pit lane, by the time the timer runs out, they should be fine. But if the timer runs out before they even get to pit lane, then they will get the penalty. Meanwhile, Cummings is on
the... have to be, yeah. Sorry, Dan, Friedman's in. And he would have to, you know.
Yeah, it's this lap, and that's it. You could, if Friedman was possibly the only one who could possibly stretch it, but it is a very, very close call. But into the pits comes Sylph, and then Matt Wright is the last one to pit. But O'Reilly with the lead at the minute and confidence, but Will Friedman, will he be able to bring that gap down with this stop? That is the question. What other fights are going on? We got Fernie, who's under pressure from Gasby in behind in the Mercedes-Benz, and that bright pink Mercedes. And 181, who is that? That is 181 is Carble. He's got to drive through for track limits.
Really?
Easily done
Riley's
here, though.
Coming into the, sorry, Dan. Riley coming into the last corner, and Friedman's on his way out. This is going to be tight.
This is going to be very, very tight.
Oh, and O'Reilly's just done it. Just pipped him into turn 1, and I do mean just. That 4-second lead that he had earlier on is gone.
It is gone, and now We have got a fight for the win here. O'Reilly's had it pretty comfortable for pretty much from start to now, and now he's under some pressure from Friedman. Can Friedman take the win away? And again, Friedman had a brilliant season last season, just could not be able to commit to every single race, and now he is in an opportunity to possibly leave here at Brands in the lead of the championship, but he's got O'Reilly right in front of him. The 181 of Clarball has cleared his drive-through. The pit window is now closed. Wright did manage to make it into the pit, so he should not get a penalty. But Hubert and Tardog are just miles behind. They're 10 seconds behind, so whatever strategy they've gone for has not worked out for them at all. As there's
this I reckon is going to be the championship story, these two.
Yeah, if both of them have a clean season with no wheel issues, able to commit every race, this could be the season fight, I think.
I think so, yeah.
Tardog as well involved.
I think there's going to be lots of race winners, but I think this is going to be where it's out. Friedman put the laps in, drop that that gap down to O'Reilly, and I think this is the shape of the season.
It is indeed, and like I said, O'Reilly does not get flustered easy, so he should be able to absorb this pressure. He's done a season in the pro category, and there's a lot of quick drivers in there. Friedman himself has been in the pros as well. In the Porsche 992, really gave a lot of people a couple of headaches while he was a reserve, but nonetheless, these two, very, very quick driver. They're miles ahead of Hubert and Tardog, who Tardog has now caught. Tardog has caught the back of Hubert, so we'll see if team orders will come into effect here. Jamal Clouden is trying to catch McGowan as well, but probably your closest fight is Aberdeen, Fernie and Gadsby. That's your closest fight on track at this stage.
Well, I'm still watching the leaders now coming up behind Marsden to lap him. Hopefully he'll be compliant and not get involved in this too much. But they're up the far end of the circuit on the GP section, and Marsden is in the way really. Where are we with the blue flag rules? Are we back to endurance rules?
Nope, they should jump out of the way.
I think Marsden was there for quite a long time, in my opinion. But no harm done for O'Reilly and Friedman. No one gained, no one lost. So they're both still as close as they were before. But this is a titanic battle for the lead.
Hubert has allowed his teammate through, so Tardog going through. So the two MSA Racing duo are looking very good in the team's points at the minute. Very, very good points for those two at the minute. Both Porsche and Camaro leading the way at the minute. But this is your main fight. Friedman versus O'Reilly, and I think this is going to be the battle of Titanics. It's going to be awesome. It's back up there with Gary versus myself and Matthew versus De Silva and the top guys that we've seen. Ripper versus Overtaker. This is going to be the dogfight of the season.
Argent and KLF. Come on, man.
And then both of you got caught out by Rabbit Joe at the end.
I still won that round. If you want some great racing, go back about 3 years on your YouTube and find it.
There is a playlist, I believe, of all the other race seasons on there, so you can have a look at the playlist. And reminder as well to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell to be notified so you don't miss any of the action here at SimPlay Racing. We're about to get things towards the back end of this race. Spa is next on the calendar, and obviously real weather involved. So if it's raining at Spa, imagine the rain, the reverse grid, the ballast, 5-minute qualifying session.
I found these cars extremely good in the wet, to be fair. Extremely good in the wet. I mean, they're extremely good cars, and that's why we've got very close racing. Do you know what I mean? They're easy cars to drive. Not taking anything away from anybody, but do you know what I mean? They're planted, solid cars. The car very rarely catches you out. It's quite a pure racing series.
As Gadsby allows Unsworth through there, and a couple of guys just struggling towards the end of this race. Bell has also cleared Johnson. Gary Clarball is back into the pits, but Friedman still putting the pressure on O'Reilly at the front, and McGowan's lost out to Clouden. So
Riley just clipped the back of a back marker. That was Wheel, was it? Just clipped the back of him and knocked him out of the way. And is this given Friedman? I don't see any damage on O'Reilly's car, but that could have been disastrous moment, that.
It could have been indeed, and this is the problem with this circuit. It's tight, twisty, and a couple of guys a little bit slower. Obviously, this is mixed categories. It's not just pro category. It's pro and pro-am in this one race. And now they're catching a BMW that's got a little bit of damage to the front end. Meanwhile, Aberdeen looked like he had the run on Fernie, but he's falling back behind. As has Unsworth, he's lost out against to Gadsby. So there's this fight going on as well. But we go back to O'Reilly and Friedman. They've cleared the BMW. And they've only still got 12 minutes to go. And O'Reilly's made a mistake. Friedman looking to the outside.
Yes, he is, but he's on the outside. And O'Reilly's got the inside line as they come back into the last corner before the straight. Friedman tries to tuck to the inside.
He did this to Tordock earlier, but it hasn't worked. O'Reilly's awake. He's too smart for that. And he's going to have to try and go the long way around. And Friedman trying to do every touring car line he can think of. But O'Reilly defending for his life. He's gone possibly a little bit too deep there. And Friedman up the inside towards Crane Hill Bend and towards Druids.
O'Reilly seems to have a very wide line, and it looks like Friedman's going to get the job done. O'Reilly makes a switchback, but he was a little bit late or a little bit early on it and caught the curb. Didn't give him the traction that he wanted. So can O'Reilly come back at him?
Well, we know the straight line of the McLaren is very, very mighty. Yes, my brakes are shot. Tried to race, but no good. And we'll be back soon with a new gear, says Gary Clarble in the chat. Such a shame there for you, Clarble. But here comes the McLaren of O'Reilly. It's very good in the straight line. Look at it go.
Gotta love a McLaren.
He's looking to the outside, and I think it's going to be hard done there because the Porsche... Yeah. Oh, is he? He's alongside, though.
He's alongside, but he hasn't got quite enough just to go all the way around the outside.
He has.
It's looking like it. Oh, and he comes back across.
What a move!
Takes it. O'Reilly back in the lead over Freeman. That was power. That was about power and commitment.
Indeed, and O'Reilly's had a slide.
He has indeed. So this gives Friedman again, where he kind of set this up the last lap. He set it up to the outside before they go into the last corner. Tries to tuck back to the inside, get the traction, get on the power.
He's got the run.
He's down the inside. He's down the inside, pushes out O'Reilly. O'Reilly is forced to go round the outside as they come into the first corner and onto Paddock Hill Bend. O'Reilly has taken that one wide, dropped back into the apex, got into the slip. He's going to have a go up the inside, Dan. He's going to have a go. Not quite close enough.
Friedman tried to be later on the brakes, but he has gone very wide. He's into the marbles, and O'Reilly's going to look up the inside again, but because of the traction from the Porsche, he's able to just get a better exit, and O'Reilly once again has to use that straight line advantage down the back straight. This is awesome racing, as Chris says in the chat, that Hibbs has spun, and that's allowed a few of the guys up, including Rook, Leach, and a few others as well. There is Hibbs.
Side by side they are.
Matthew Duffin's dropped down to 11th as well, as we go back to the leaders, as O'Reilly and Friedman go side by side once again, and O'Reilly with the straight line advantage of the McLaren. He should be able to get the job done, hopefully going in turn. Yes, he has. Meanwhile, Kelly, while this is all going on, Tardock is catching them.
Yeah.
Oh, O'Reilly and Friedman nearly coming together because trying to clear Andrews.
Yes, they were trying to go side by side. Andrews in there as well.
Here comes Tardock.
How far away is Tardock? He's 5 seconds back.
The start of this lap, the gap was 8.9. Now it's 5.7. So
why Friedman and O'Reilly trip over themselves, this is giving Tardock the chance to bring that gap back, and let's hope it continues all the way to the end. Oh, Friedman's gone. Oh, that was a catch. That was a catch. Tokyo drift there as Friedman put a wheel on the grass, just got the back end a bit squirrely, but he collected it all back together and regroups and goes again.
There's Tardock, 4.9 now is the gap. Now O'Reilly possibly trying to get himself in a little bit of a groove. Meanwhile, McGowan is on the back of Jamal Clouden. They're trying to catch Stilth, who's had a bit of a lull this part of the race, and Hubert's kind of in no man's land at this race, so he's got a solid points there for the team. And Gary Leach ahead of Rook and also Hibbs and Duffin. And Duffin, I think, got a bit of damage to the front end of his car. He's got to stay ahead of Fernie, who's got Skunky breathing down his neck. The man who used to be mighty in the Ginetta seems to be struggling in the Mercedes-Benz, but obviously bad qualifying probably didn't help him out as he tries to get a good run on the back of Fernie as they head down towards turn number 1.
Yes, indeed, and O'Reilly does seem to be back in the groove a little bit. And that's one of the tricks of being a race car driver, isn't it? And getting your head back right and getting back into a groove, keeping Friedman behind, keeping the gap, not making mistakes, hitting your braking points properly, not going wide, all that kind of stuff. And it takes mindset to do that.
It does indeed. Meanwhile, let's have a look at the overall running order with 7.5 minutes to go. It is O'Reilly still leading from Friedman. Third is Tardok trying to catch him. Hubert in fourth. Silth in fifth. Clouded in sixth place position with McGowan behind him in seventh. Gary Leach in that eighth place position with Rook in ninth. 10th is Hibbs, and rounding off the top 10. Duffin just outside the top 10 in 11th with Fernie in 12th. Skunky 13th. Gasby in 14th with Unsworth in 15th. Barclock in 16th place position with Taylor 17th, Wright in 18th, Ramsell in that 19th place position. Rounding off the 20 is Johnson, and then we got Smith in 21st, Aberdeen in 22nd, ahead of Bell and Cummings in 23rd and 4th, Vesby in 25th. He's gone off and had a massive moment as Myers is in from 26th, Tipping 27th. Betterson in 28th, Wheel 29th, Marsden in 30th, O'Brien returning back to the pits 5 laps to go in 31st, Andrews in 32nd, Clarball in 33rd and retire, and Millington back in 34th position.
The leaders are now coming up behind a scrap, which is Darren Bell and Aberdeen in whatever positions they're in, but they're scrapping quite hard as the leaders are now coming up behind them to lap them in probably half a lap's time.
By the end of the lap, I reckon, because these two are racing hard. Aberdeen trying to hold on to that 22nd position with Bell right behind him, and just look at the two behind. They're pretty much drafting one another and eventually catching the two in front. I believe Bell will have to jump out. Whoa, Bell's had a big snap there, and he managed to collect it. And here comes O'Reilly and Friedman, and just as these two get back into a groove, Tardog can't catch him.
Yeah, Tardog's kind of stabilised at about 5 seconds behind, but is this battle in front going to giving him advantage? Is this going to slow the leaders down? Is Bell aware that these are the leaders? He'll know that they're the leaders. How much is he going to worry about it?
Well, 3 blue flags that they see is then they should really get out of the way. So 3 corners as such. So Bell now, he's going to be focusing on the car in front, but he needs to get out of the leader's way pretty soon. If not now, would be the best time to do it. And he moves to one side.
Which he did.
Or does he? Because he's still foot to the floor.
Yeah.
And he finally does it in an awkward way.
Oh, yeah, that was difficult for the leaders. I mean, that's put Friedman right on the outside and still there.
He is still there.
He hasn't let Friedman through.
What Bell should have done there was allow the leaders through and use them to clear Aberdeen. Use the leaders to clear the cars. Yeah. And Aberdeen now, is he going to be just as a nuisance as Bell, or is he going to be a little bit more compliant as Friedman? Now finally clears Bell, but Aberdeen gets right out of the way straight away, and that's going to allow O'Reilly through, and Friedman has lost that time.
Yes, he has. That was really unfortunate for Friedman. As Aberdeen is again gonna move. Is he going to move out of the way? And he's going to be right in the first corner as Friedman comes through. It hasn't worked out for Friedman at all. Not well at all.
No, it has not. Aberdeen does. Yeah, he gets out of the way. Again, some of these GT4 lappers are not really making life easy for some of these guys, as Tordok has brought the gap down to 3.5 to Will Friedman. But that has obviously not worked out, as Unsworth is now in the pits again. What damage has he got? He's in the pit lane. Gary Leach is coming to the pits as well. Has he not put enough fuel in?
Oh, that's a classic Gary Leach if he hasn't.
It would be indeed. That gap, though, between O'Reilly and Friedman is coming back down once again. I feel Friedman has got the pace, but because of the straight line of that McLaren, it just keeps O'Reilly at that advantage, especially down this back straight.
I think you're exactly right, Dan. I do think ultimately Friedman has got probably the slightly better pace, overall pace, but Riley's got the power.
He has indeed. Meanwhile, McGowan and Clouden are hunting down Silth, who's struggling in the Ginetta at this stage. And Ben Rook, sadly, nowhere near them at this minute. And they're going to have to fight hard towards the end of this race. We've got less than 3 minutes of this race to go. I have to come to you for a driver of the day later on, Kelly, and a quick rundown. And obviously, we'll talk about Spa and the season to come. Obviously, one other thing I have forgot to mention, we will be doing a charity event towards the end of this season. We will be doing a 24 hours of the Nürburgring for the fight against cancer. Obviously, Paul Williams, one of our drivers, one of the FBR crew. Sadly, some of his family members have become a part of the horrible victimism of cancer, and as a community of SimPlay and FBR, we're coming together and looking to do a 24 hours of the Nordschleife for our challenge against the track, as they fight their challenge against cancer themselves. So please, guys, the dates will be put up as soon as I possibly can sort that out. I believe it's set towards the bank holiday of May. And that is definitely an event to get involved. So please, teams, drivers, get together, because it's going to be a great cause. And we could try and better ourselves last time, the last charity event we did.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're unaware, it's a bit of a SimPlay legend.
Oh, no! Sorry.
What?
Kieran O'Reilly's drive-through penalty.
Oh, no, Kieran, you have just ruined my driver of the day person. Oh, that's so frustrating. That really is. What can you say? What can you say? A minute and a half away from the end of the race, and he's got to serve a drive-through.
Luckily, it is a short pit lane, but it is gone. The race win has gone, and Friedman will lead this race now and will take the win of the race. Obviously, don't drop it. Where's he going to drop? O'Reilly, though. Hubert is now coming through. I think Silf and Clouden might be close to him here. McGowan, I don't know. So we'll see where O'Reilly gets dropped. He's now into the final part of the pit lane. He's about to get released. Here comes Clouden and Silf. And they've cleared him.
Close. Yeah, they have. And McGowan's going to have a
pop.
Not quite had a run at him. Oh, that's devastating. What a devastating end to that race. But just to go back to what we were saying about the charity 24-hour planned again for cancer. We did it once before, raised over £1,000 for charity. It's no easy feat. The Nordschleife on Project Cars was difficult. On here, it's even more difficult. It will be a real challenge for anybody who gets involved. But we'd love to get you all involved as drivers, as spectators, whatever, doing our bit for what is a great cause. And we'll talk more about it. You're going to hear a lot about it all season. And, you know, we would love you to be there.
We would indeed. But as we come to the end of...
Sorry, Millington's out on the track in the wrong direction. He's had a spin.
He has indeed, but we move on to this man, your race winner by default. Obviously, O'Reilly giving himself that drive-through, but it is Will Friedman who takes the second win here tonight. A great drive from him. Tordock is going to come home in second place. With those fresh tyres, it ended up helping him out to get to second in the end. Hubert is going to make it a 2-3 for the MSA Racing duo, podium position for himself.
They're still scrapping at the end. Yeah.
Silth just hangs in there ahead of Clouden and O'Reilly, with McGowan in that 7th place position, and Rook now just holding on to that 8th place position. For him, he's going to come home just ahead of Hibbs, who's also had a bit of a dramatic night for those two. They come to the line. Rook takes the 8th place, Hibbs in 9th. Duffin is going to come home in that 10th place position. Top 10 for him in the end. Not sure who dropped out. Oh, Leach did. So Duffin in the top 10. Fernie is going to finish in 11th place position, with Gasby in that 12th place. Skunky probably the night forget. Obviously, I believe drop scores are in effect as well. So a night that he'll forget. Back? I believe so, for the GT4s.
All right.
So
okay.
Yeah, so a night for Skunky to forget. Barclock is going to finish in 14th, with Wright in 15th. Taylor is going to finish in 16th, with Johnson just ahead of Leach in 17th and 18th, Ramsell 19th, Bell in 20th, Smith in 21st, with Aberdeen 22nd, Cummins 23rd, Tipping 24th, Besson in 25th, Myers in that. I've lost him now things updated. Myers in 26th position, Wheel 27th, Bessie in 28th, Marsden in 29th, Unsworth in 30th, Andrews 31st, Millington 32nd, O'Brien 33rd, and Gary Clarble in 34th. Normally I would go into the Discord and do an interview with the drivers, but I will have to figure all that out next week because I haven't had time to figure all that out. But Kelly, I'll come to you for a quick rundown of the night's racing and your driver of the day.
Yes. I mean, there's been some great racing this evening. That first race was excellent. As I said, I do believe that it's going to be Friedman and O'Reilly as a scrap for the season, all things being equal, like you said. My driver of the day, I must have an honourable mention to, I thought Clouden did a great job from that far back to end up 5th place. And an absolutely stunning introduction to the likes of Tardock and Hubert were both, new drivers, certainly to me, and they did really well. But my driver of the day, even though he dropped it at the end, dropped the ball as it were, is going to be Kieran O'Reilly.
Oh, well done to Kieran O'Reilly for Kelly Davis for driver of the day from him. I'll quickly do a poll up. But also, just on your screen right now is the 24 hours of the Nürburgring special event, the 3rd of May. Doing it for Cancer Research and Just Giving as well. And Team FBR, we've partnered with SimPlay Motorsport. Make sure you be a part of that because it is for a great cause. And it's not, if you're not doing it just for the reasoning, then obviously give it for the challenge as well. So please keep an eye on all the information's there. For me, Kelly, though, a driver of the day, I think, has to go to Tardock. I think he was the man to beat tonight. Strategy didn't quite work his way earlier on, but he finished in second, fastest lap. He looked very good overall, but nonetheless, it's been a great night's worth of racing. And next up is Spa.
Yeah, the classic that is Spa. That'll bring some great racing. Always does. Certainly one of my all-time favourite tracks. As a racetrack, not just to drive. So that'll be something to look forward to. But Dan, this is just the start of this week.
It is indeed, and just to start, we got the Pro-Ams tomorrow night. We will be having Lexi doing the Pro-Am Championship, but sadly, due to internet issues, she won't be able to do the commentary tomorrow, so I believe it's possibly going to be myself and Matthew Duffin in the commentary box, maybe just Matthew, depending on what I'm able to do tomorrow. But they'll be in your comms box tomorrow night, and the pros, obviously, will be back with yourself, Kelly, and the first time back commentating on the pros.
First time back commentating on the pros. First time that Team Audio Sport is back in the pro league as well for a long time. Really looking forward to that. Sweet and Sticky back in your box. If you don't know the Sweet and Sticky thing, you'll hear about it from me and Matt. Very much looking forward to teaming back up with Matt for this year's racing. And I think the racing is going to be just as much fun as the commentary.
It should be indeed probably our hardest pro category we've ever had. Just a quick chat as well.
Well, good luck for you. I was going to say, you as the defending 10 times champion or whatever you are now, it's going to be difficult for you, isn't it?
It is indeed. Gone out the Lexus and in the Porsche I go. So we'll see how I get on. But more importantly, on the screen right now is the Patreon support. If you do want to be a Patreon, it's only £3 a month. You'll reserve a race number. You'll be priority in signing up, so you'll be the first opportunity to get in. And also, you'll have track suggestions in the future, but that may change because we have got something planned for next season. You'll also get pre-season promos by asking myself if you want season promos made, and also your social media and also your streams will be automatically posted in the driver streams as well.
And you get our respect.
And our respect, and that one as well.
Absolutely.
Kelly, in one word, sum up tonight's racing.
Awesome.
Awesome. And I'm going to go with chaotic, but that is classic GT4 racing. Thank you to Brands for hosting the GT4 start of the season, but you're not done yet. We head to Pro-Am and Pro on a Wednesday and Thursday. We are done here. And once again, massive thank you to our sponsors, Design Manchester and Audio Sport. All the information is in the description below. Then head over down there, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. And we shall see you tomorrow night for the Pro-Am action. For myself and everyone here at SimPlay Motorsport, it is good night.
Good night.